Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you lost an argument you didn't even know you were in? A fog that leaves you questioning your own sanity. You replay their words, searching for the exact moment the ground shifted beneath you, but you can't find it. All you are left with is a hollow ache of confusion and a quiet, corrosive layer of guilt. That feeling is not an accident. It is a tactic. The fog is not a feeling, it is a weapon. Manipulators are masters of the unconscious conversation, the one happening beneath the words. They don't attack your arguments, they attack your sense of reality. They target the shadow parts of you, your self-doubt, your fear of conflict, your deep desire to be a good person. Carl Jung gave us a profound warning. He said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Today, we make the unconscious conscious. We turn on the lights in that foggy room. This video is your rulebook. It is a tactical guide to psychological self-defense built on the foundations of shadow work. First, we will expose the 5 most common trap questions manipulators use to hijack your mind. Second, I will give you the exact words, the precise battle-tested scripts to disarm each one calmly and effectively. And third, you will learn the most important skill of all, how to recognize the game so that you can choose not to play. This is not about becoming aggressive or cold. It is about becoming clear. It is about learning to protect your mind as the sacred space it is. To begin this act of reclaiming your sovereignty, this act of putting a guardian at the gate of your own mind, I invite you to make a declaration. Write in the comments below, "My mind is my own."
To understand these mental traps, you must first understand the battlefield. Every conversation is 2 conversations. There is the one you can hear, the words being spoken, the text. And then there is the one you can feel, the unspoken currents of emotion, of intention, of power, the subtext. As a perceptive person, an empath, your nervous system is exquisitely tuned to the subtext. You are not just listening to what is being said, you are scanning for what is being felt. You are tracking for safety, for sincerity, for truth. This is a survival skill you learned long ago. But in the presence of a manipulator, this gift becomes a liability because they don't play on the field of text. They are masters of the subtext. Their goal is not to win the argument. Their goal is to destabilize your reality. They know that if they can make you doubt what you feel, they can control what you do. Let's imagine a woman named Chloe. She's a 38-year-old teacher, the kind of person who remembers every student's birthday. She's compassionate, responsible, and perpetually exhausted. She's in a conversation with a family member about a holiday gathering. Chloe has calmly stated she can't host this year because she needs to rest. She has set a boundary. The text is simple, a statement of fact. But the subtext is where the war begins. The family member doesn't argue with the fact. Instead, they deploy the first trap question, the one you know so well, the one designed to turn your own feelings against you. They say, with a tone of confused concern, "Why are you being so sensitive about this? It's just a family dinner." And in that moment, everything shifts. The conversation is no longer about the dinner. It is now about you, about your reaction, about your sensitivity. The question is a masterstroke of psychological invalidation. It doesn't just dismiss your feeling, it pathologizes your perception. It tells you that your internal radar, your greatest superpower, is actually a flaw. And instantly, you are put on the defensive. Not defending your boundary, but defending your very right to feel. You start to explain, to justify. I'm not being sensitive. I'm just tired. And the moment you start explaining, you have stepped onto their chessboard. You have lost. The boundary is forgotten. All that remains is your fog of self-doubt and guilt. This is the first layer of the game. Invalidate the feeling. Let's say Chloe holds her ground. She doesn't take the bait. She simply repeats her boundary. It's not about being sensitive. I just need to rest this year. Now the manipulator must deploy a more sophisticated weapon. They can see that attacking your feelings didn't work, so they will attack your character. But they do it with a question that forces you to defend them. They look at you with a wounded expression and ask, "So, are you saying I'm a bad person for wanting the family to be together?" This is the reversal. A brilliant, cruel act of misdirection. Notice the genius of it. The conversation was about Chloe's need for rest. Now, it is about the family member's moral character. And Chloe, as a compassionate person, feels an immediate biological pull to soothe. Her fawn response kicks in. The desire to rescue, to reassure. No, of course not. You're not a bad person at all. You just care about the family. I know that. And there it is again. She is no longer holding her boundary. She is now managing their feelings. She is comforting the very person who just launched a covert attack on her. She leaves the conversation feeling drained, confused, and somehow like she is the one who did something wrong. She was the selfish one, the difficult one, the one who hurt someone who just wanted a nice family dinner. Her mind has been hijacked, not with force, but with two seemingly innocent questions. This is the art of the manipulator. They don't break down your door, they talk you into handing them the key, and then they rearrange all the furniture inside your mind until you no longer recognize your own home. These two traps, invalidating your feelings and reversing the blame, are the most common. They are the opening moves in the psychological chess game, but they are not the most powerful. The most sophisticated traps, the ones that can keep you locked in a state of obligation and guilt for years, are the ones you don't even see as an attack. They are the ones disguised as history, as logic, and even as love. And it is time we turn on the lights and look at those too.
But the game does not end there. The most dangerous traps are not the ones that attack you directly. They're the ones that use your own past and your own goodness against you. Let's go back to Chloe. Weeks have passed since the holiday conversation. She is still feeling that lingering guilt, that sense of having failed her family role. The manipulator knows this. They know that the nice person persona, as we've discussed, cannot tolerate the feeling of being bad. So they deploy the third trap. It is a question designed to rewrite history, to make you doubt your own memory of events. They say, perhaps during a calm moment, "Why can't you just let it go? I'm trying to move forward. Why are you dwelling on the past?" In the text, this sounds reasonable. It sounds like a plea for peace. But let's read the subtext. The subtext is, "Your truth is inconvenient for me. Your feelings are a burden. Pack them away so I can be comfortable again." This is forced forgetting. It is a demand that you abandon your own reality for the sake of the relationship's illusion. For an empath like Chloe, this is incredibly effective. She doesn't want to be the difficult one. She doesn't want to be the one holding a grudge. So her inner critic joins the attack. It says, "They're right. I should just move on. I am being petty." And in that moment of self-abandonment, the manipulation is complete. The original issue, the boundary that was crossed, the hurt that was caused, is never addressed. It is simply buried under your own guilt for remembering it. You have agreed to live in their version of the story. Now, consider a different scenario. Let's say Chloe is finally speaking up about a pattern of behavior. She is pointing out something they did that was hurtful. She is using facts. The manipulator feels cornered. They cannot deny the fact. So they must change the subject entirely. They must make the conversation about your unworthiness to judge them. They deploy the fourth trap, the trap of perfection. They ask with a sharp, accusatory tone, "Oh, so you think you're perfect?" This is not a question. It is a deflection. It is a logical fallacy designed to silence you. The subtext is, if you are not flawless, you have no right to have boundaries. You have no right to point out my behavior. And because you are a reflective person, because you do shadow work, you know you are not perfect. You know you have flaws. So you take the bait. You start to defend your own humanity. "No, I don't think I'm perfect. I know I've made mistakes." And just like that, the spotlight has moved. Their hurtful behavior is now in the dark. Your imperfections are in the light. The conversation is now about you defending your character instead of them taking responsibility for their actions. You have been successfully distracted from the truth. And finally, we come to the most potent weapon in their arsenal, the one reserved for when you are truly pulling away, the one that weaponizes your own gratitude and loyalty. This is the trap of the debt collector. Imagine Chloe has decided to take some space. She is pulling back from the relationship to protect her energy. The manipulator feels the loss of control. So they play their highest card. They say, with a deep, sacrificial suffering, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me?" This is emotional blackmail in its purest form. The text is a reminder of past kindness. The subtext is a contract you never signed. The subtext is, "My love was not a gift, it was a loan. And now I am calling in the debt. You owe me your compliance." It turns a relationship into a transaction. For someone like Chloe, who values loyalty and gratitude, this is devastating. The guilt is overwhelming. She feels like a traitor, an ingrate. She forgets the current pain. She forgets the crossed boundaries. She only remembers the debt. And so she returns. Not out of love, but out of obligation. She pays the debt with her own life force. Do you see the pattern? Whether it is invalidating your feelings, reversing the blame, forcing you to forget, deflecting with perfection, or collecting a debt of guilt, the goal is always the same: to move you from your center, to make you doubt your own perception, your own worth, and your own right to have a separate reality. Carl Jung spoke of the danger of becoming possessed by the unconscious of another. When you answer these questions on their terms, that is what is happening. You are stepping into their movie, playing the role they have written for you. You are no longer the author of your own experience. This is why you feel so drained. It takes an immense amount of psychic energy to live in a reality that is not your own, to constantly suppress your own truth, to maintain someone else's illusion. The exhaustion you feel is not a sign of weakness. It is the sound of your own soul, fighting to breathe. The first step to freedom is not to fight them. It is to see the game. To recognize that when these questions are asked, you are not in a conversation. You are in a trap. And once you see the trap, you can learn the art of not stepping into it. You can learn the art of verbal aikido. It is not about attacking back. It is about using their own energy to protect your peace. It is about giving an answer that does not defend, does not explain, and does not engage with the subtext. An answer that keeps you firmly planted in your own reality. And that is exactly what we are going to learn next. The precise words to shut down the game without closing your heart.
So you see the game. You see the traps. How do you disarm them without becoming a warrior? How do you protect your peace without declaring war? The answer lies in a beautiful principle: verbal aikido. In the martial art of aikido, you do not meet force with force. You do not block a punch with a punch. Instead, you blend with the opponent's energy. You redirect their momentum, and you restore balance, often without causing harm. These verbal scripts are your aikido. They are not attacks, they are redirections. They work because they come from your calm, observant adult self, not your triggered, wounded inner child. The goal is not to win. The goal is to exit the game. Let us return to the first trap question, the one that pathologizes your perception. When they ask, "Why are you being so sensitive?" the old you, the one in the fog, would have defended your feelings. "I'm not sensitive, I'm just..." That is meeting force with force. The Aikido response does not engage on that level. It acknowledges their perception without accepting it as truth, and then calmly redirects. You can say, "I hear that you see my reaction as sensitive. For me, it feels like a necessary response. I'd like to stay focused on the issue at hand." Let's break down why this is so powerful. "I hear that you see" validates their right to their perception, immediately disarming them. You are not arguing with them. For me, it feels like calmly asserts your own reality without needing their approval. "I'd like to stay focused on the issue at hand" is the redirection. You are bringing the conversation back to the center, back to the boundary. You have refused to play the game of who is the crazy one. Now the second trap, the reversal. When they ask, "So, are you saying I'm a bad person?" the old you would have rushed to reassure them. "No, of course not. You're a wonderful person." This is you abandoning your own feelings to comfort them. The Aikido response refuses to take the bait. It draws a clear, clean line between behavior and identity. You can say, "I'm not talking about who you are as a person. I'm talking about how this specific action felt to me. Let's stick to that." This script is a fortress. It refuses to be drawn into a vague, emotional debate about character. It keeps the spotlight firmly on the specific, observable behavior that caused the hurt. You are not their judge. You are simply a witness to your own experience. Let's move to the third trap, forced forgetting. When they say, "Why can't you just let it go?" This is a subtle but powerful attempt to shame you for remembering. The Aikido response honors your need for true resolution over false peace. You can say, "For me, understanding what happened feels more important right now than simply forgetting it. When I feel we have that understanding, letting go will be easy." This response is incredibly empowering. It reframes your need to talk about the past, not as a weakness, but as a commitment to a healthier future. You are not dwelling. You are doing the necessary work of repair. The fourth trap, the deflection of perfection. When they ask, "You think you're perfect?" the old you would have listed your own flaws. The Aikido response
recognizes this as a complete distraction. You can say, with a calm, almost curious tone, "This isn't about anyone being perfect. It's about how we can resolve this one specific issue between us. Are you willing to talk about that?" This is a masterful redirection. You are exposing the irrelevance of their question and gently inviting them back into a mature, adult conversation. You are refusing to get into the mud with them. And finally, the most emotionally charged weapon, the debt collector. "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me?" This one hurts. It is designed to trigger your deepest sense of loyalty and guilt. Fighting it is useless. "You haven't done that much for me," only leads to a bigger fight. The Aikido response uses the Jungian principle of holding the tension of opposites. It uses the power of the word "and." You can say, with genuine sincerity in your voice, "I am deeply grateful for all the ways you have supported me. I truly am. And right now, this boundary is what I need to honor for myself." Both of those things are true at the same time. This response is almost impossible to argue with. You have validated their past kindness, which removes their weapon. And you have calmly held your present boundary. You are not a rebellious child. You are not an ungrateful monster. You are an adult capable of holding complex, contradictory truths. You are demonstrating the very wholeness you are working toward. Let us imagine Chloe, our teacher, one more time. She's on the phone with that same family member. The guilt trip begins. "After all I've done for you." The old Chloe would have crumbled. The fog would have rolled in. But the new Chloe has been practicing. She has been doing her shadow work. She takes a breath. She finds her feet. She says the words. Maybe her voice trembles a little bit. "I am so grateful for everything you've done. I truly am. And right now, this boundary is what I need to honor for myself." Both of those things are true at the same time. There might be silence on the other end of the line. There might be anger. But in that moment, Chloe is not in a fog. She is clear. She is not a child begging for approval. She is an adult standing in her own truth. She has not won an argument. She has won something far more valuable. She has won herself back. That feeling, that quiet, solid, unshakable clarity, is the beginning of true, authentic power. It is the feeling of coming home.
Today, the game has been revealed. The fog of manipulation has begun to clear. We have walked through the 5 invisible traps. The question that pathologizes your feelings, the one that reverses the blame, the one that demands you forget your own truth, the one that uses your imperfections as a weapon, and the one that turns your gratitude into a cage. We have seen them not as innocent questions, but as carefully chosen keys designed to unlock the shadow parts of you, your self-doubt, your guilt, your fear. And now, you have your own keys. 5 scripts. 5 ways to answer not the question, but the intention. 5 ways to stand in your own quiet center and refuse to be moved. But knowing the words is only the first step. The true power of this practice does not live in your mind. It lives in your body. It lives in your nervous system. When you are in a difficult conversation, your triggered inner child will want to take over. It will want to defend, to explain, to appease. That is its survival programming. Your work as the conscious adult is to practice these new scripts so that they become second nature, so that they become the default response, overriding the old code of the fawn.
This is not something to be perfected overnight. It is a practice of building a new kind of muscle memory. So, let's talk about your first training session. And we will start in the safest place possible, alone. I invite you this week not to seek out a confrontation, but to choose just one of the trap questions we discussed, the one you hear most often, the one that hooks you the deepest. Take the Aikido script we crafted for it. Write it down on a small piece of paper, a post-it note. Place it on your bathroom mirror, or your desk, or the dashboard of your car. And just read it. Read it once a day. Read it aloud. Let your body hear the words. Let your cells feel the shape of this new response. What you are doing is programming your unconscious mind. You are giving your nervous system a new option, a new pathway to choose when the old trigger is fired. You are preparing for the battle in a time of peace, so that when the moment comes, and it will, you will not have to think. You will simply respond from a place of clarity, not chaos. This is the essence of this phase of shadow work. It is about bringing conscious intention to the unconscious patterns of relationship. And this brings us to the deepest principle of all. The true art of verbal Aikido is not just about what you say. It is about the inner state from which you say it. A manipulator, a narcissist, are not fueled by your arguments. They are fueled by your emotional reaction, your anger, your tears, your defensiveness. That is their supply. The scripts we have learned are powerful because they are emotionally neutral. They come from a place of calm observation. You are not a participant in their drama. You are a witness to it. The ultimate goal, the master level of this work, is to become so internally grounded, so peacefully sovereign in your own energy, that your silence becomes more powerful than any script. But what happens when the manipulator isn't even looking for an answer? What happens when their only goal is to provoke a reaction, to feed on your emotional energy? What if the most powerful defense isn't a clever response, but a way of becoming emotionally invisible? A way of becoming a calm, blank screen upon which their chaos cannot find a foothold. This is not about being cold. It is about being contained. It is not about building a wall. It is about becoming a mountain. This is the next level of our self-defense, and we will open that advanced toolkit in our next conversation. For now, your practice is one of gentle preparation, of choosing your tool, of learning its weight in your hand. To make this practice real, I invite you to commit to it. Share in the comments below. Which trap question do you encounter most often in your life? Is it the "you're too sensitive"? The "you think you're perfect"? The "after all I've done for you"? By naming the trap, you take the first step in disarming it. You are not just writing a comment. You are declaring that the game is over and you are ready to be free.